إن الحمد لله ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله فإن خير الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل الضلالة في النار. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. So I welcome you back to our Sunday session of Surah Al-Baqarah that we are doing with Understand Quran the easy way. We are, I'll just share my screen. Right. So we have been doing Surah Al-Baqarah and we are on the 12th page of Surah Al-Baqarah, and we've seen how it is divided on the hands and each finger, 4 of each, right? So this is the second, third course that we did, right hand and the left hand, and now we are on the fourth book and we are doing the 11 to 15 pages, of which 11 we've already done and 12th page we are doing. So the 12th page has the covenant of the blood, which we saw. And after that, we saw how they evicted their own people because of the internal wars that they had along with the Aus and Khazraj. And today's part is believing in parts. This is the pointer for today. And after that, we have treatment with Musa alayhi salam and Isa alayhi salam and the other messengers. So these are the pointers. Taking the right hand, covenant of the blood, killing and expulsion, believing in parts, and treatment to Musa and Isa. In short, there is going to be covenant, killing, parts, and Musa and Isa. These are the keywords for easy remembrance. So that's the third pointer, and it's linked with the previous verses. They're directly linked, as we saw. The first part is how the covenant was taken, and they were ordered that they are not supposed to kill their own people, and not to shed their own blood, and not to remove them from their houses. And as I said, because of their wars and their alliance with the Aus for one of the groups and the Khazraj with the other group, they killed their own people. After having killed their own people, some of them were taken as captives by themselves, and then they were belonging to the tribe that had won. And then, according to the rules of Torah, they would go and give ransom or fidya to release these prisoners of war. So first of all, they would help them to become prisoners, and after that, they would then ransom their own people by giving the money. And this is what they thought, that they were acting according to the Torah, because Torah had the injunction that you're not supposed to kill your own people, and because of that, they would then ransom them. So this is the ayat for today, these two. The lessons that we're going to learn here are: follow the deen of Allah fully without leaving any parts, and remember the double punishment for those who follow the deen selectively, extra warning for those who neglect Allah's commands, and that Allah is watching. We just have one new word in these 5 lines, so we know that alhamdulillah we have reached a level where the number of new words are going to get lesser and lesser. So with this, inshallah, we start. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أفتؤمنون ببعض الكتاب وتكفرون ببعض فما جزاء من يفعل ذلك منكم إلا خزي في الحياة الدنيا. The main part we'll take as we go ahead. So before that, we saw how Allah Ta'ala had taken a mithaq from them, وإذ أخذنا ميثاقكم ورفعنا وإذ أخذنا ميثاقكم لا تسفكون دماءكم ولا تخرجون أنفسكم من دياركم ثم أقررتم وأنتم تشهدون. You were the ones who agreed to it and you were the ones who confirmed it and there were witnesses among yourselves. Then Allah is saying ثم أنتم هؤلاء, then you are the ones or those ثم أنتم هؤلاء تقتلون أنفسكم وتخرجون فريقا منكم من ديارهم. Then they removed your own people from their houses. تظاهرون عليهم بالإثم والعدوان, and in that you were doing a sin ism and you had transgressed your bounds. And then they would finally, as I said, they would go and ransom them, and they were not allowed at the first place to kill them or drive them from their houses. And that, as an answer to that, Allah Ta'ala is giving this order or asking a question. Is the question. So then tu'minun, so then you believe bi ba'dil kitab, in part of the book, wa takfuruna bi ba'd, and disbelieve in part. So it is very important for us to see what it is. They were the Jews, they were the people who were following the book. We are Muslims, we are the followers of the book, and Allah Ta'ala is using the word takfurun, that disbelief. Okay, so it is possible that we call ourselves Muslims, and because of us not acting on part of the book, we become disbelievers in that, right? So just see the words what Allah Ta'ala has used. أَفَتُؤْمِنُونَ بِبَعْدِ الْكِتَابِ, are you believing in a part of the book? وَتَكْفُرُونَ بِبَعْدِ. Allah Ta'ala is not saying you're not obeying, you're not ata'u, right? Not ittaba. These words are not used. Allah Ta'ala is using the word kafir here, right? So it is a very strong message for them as well as for us, that if we call ourselves believers, we have to believe in the book. And believing in the book is not just say that I believe, it is following it to the dot, right? So that another place Allah Ta'ala says, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu sinni kafah, enter into the religion completely. Not that one part I like it so I will follow, and the other part I will see, or other part doesn't suit me, and other part is against my thing. No, if we have to follow, we have to follow the complete book. And kitab is actually also means order or ruling. As Allah Ta'ala says, kataba alaykum, it is written for you, which means that this is a rule for you and you have to follow it. So kitab, one meaning is a book and one meaning is the order or hukum that Allah Ta'ala has given. So Allah Ta'ala is reminding them here, and of course us, because we are now the primary audience of the Quran. Do you believe in part of the book? And so these words are very strong, and we have to take cognizance of these words, because here Allah Ta'ala is directly saying that if you are not following the book, you are not following the ahkamat given there or the orders given there, then you are disbelieving in the book. Okay, this is a very strong message here. And then Allah Ta'ala is justifying what a punishment for such people should be. فَمَا جَزَاءُ مَنْ يَفْعَلُ ذَلِكَ. So Allah Ta'ala is then asking, then what should be jaza, should be the recompense. Jaza is recompense. So when we say jazakallahu khair, we should say khair because that it means a good recompense. مَنْ يَفْعَلُ, one who يَفْعَلُ, فَعَلَ يَفْعَلُ, does ذَلِكَ, that. What is he doing? تُؤْمِنُونَ بِبَعْضِ الْكِتَابِ وَتَكْفُرُونَ بِبَعْضِ. Minkum, among you, illa khizyun. Khizyun is disgrace. Fil hayatid dunya, in the life of this world. So Allah Ta'ala is saying that if we are going to be part believers and part disbelievers, Allah Ta'ala is telling that Allah's sunnah is that He would put in the life of this world, and we can see for ourselves how we are facing the disgrace today. And then with this ayat, we come to know the answer of why we are in disgrace today. Right? Because we also have fallen trap to this particular sin of believing in a part of the book and not believing in a part of it, which means that we are not following the book completely. Okay, so we'll just take this ayah and then go ahead. So, Dr. Abdul Rahman Sahab, aap karenge?
Excuse me, मुझे आयत नंबर बताएंगे प्लीज?
आयत नंबर 85 चल रही थी. 85.
अच्छा जी, थैंक यू.
डॉक्टर अब्दुल रहमान साहब, आप करेंगे? Are you there?
जी
जी.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أفتؤمنون ببعض الكتاب وتكفرون ببعض فما جزاء من يفعل ذلك
It will be meme, and there will be an idgham of the ya with the noon, so it will be pronounced as yaf'alu.
فما جزاء من يفعل ذلك منكم إلا خزي في الحياة الدنيا أفتؤمنون. So do you believe ببعض الكتاب in the part of the book وتكفرون ببعض and disbelieve in part. فما جزاء, then what should be the recompense من يفعل ذلك, and for those who one does that minkum among you illa khizyun fil hayatud dunya, except the disgrace in the life of the world.
Okay. So as I said, we know that why we are into disgrace today, because we would say that some things are okay and some things we cannot avoid, some sins we cannot avoid. This is not done. We are in the modern world today. We can't do this, we can't do that. But Allah Ta'ala wants us to follow the book completely. Okay. We have to be on guard to see where we are sinning and where we are breaking the laws of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Right. So everybody has to analyze himself, because some people would do some things. Some people would maybe have earnings which have haram in it, and then they might be doing Hajj and Umrah on and off. So such things, haram money, Allah Ta'ala is not going to accept at all. People might say that you have done Hajj and all that. So people might say you're Haji, but then we have 5 pillars. Are we following all the 5 pillars properly? Are we giving zakat properly? There's so many things. At least the first basics first, and then we go on ahead. So at least for that, to know whether we are sinning or no, we have to learn our deen. If we don't learn our deen, we don't know what is right, what is wrong, and then we become ignorant because we are unaware. So it is our duty that we take knowledge of Allah's deen. Okay, so فَتُؤْمِنُونَ بِبَعْضِ الْكِتَابِ وَتَكْفُرُونَ بِبَعْضٍ فَمَا جَزَاءُ مَنْ يَفْعَلُ ذَلِكَ مِنْكُمْ إِلَّا خِزْيٌ فِي الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا. And then we'll go ahead. So at the start of this, Allah mentions Bani Israel is fighting amongst each other and then using Torah to rescue the captives. They followed the book according to their wishes. They followed some parts and rejected others that did not benefit them. Okay. في الحياة الدنيا ويوم القيامة, and on the day of Qiyamah, on the day of resurrection, on the day of standing, yuraduna. Yuraduna is in the passive voice, that they will be sent back. This is passive voice, not active voice. Yuraduna ila, to ashaddil adab, most severe adab. So Allah Ta'ala is saying that on the day of in the life of this world, they will face disgrace, and on the day of resurrection, they will be sent back. They will be sent back because they will be the Muslims, or they would have done some good works, and they will think that they are going to enter Jannah. But Allah Ta'ala is flatly denying that if you are going to be part believing, then Allah Ta'ala doesn't want such part beliefs. And then Allah Ta'ala is saying them, they will be sent back because they will think that they are going to go Jannah. But Allah is saying, no, you will be sent back. Right? Ila ashaddil adab, towards a very most severe punishment. And then Allah Ta'ala is telling us, وَمَاللَّهُ بِغَافِلٍ عَمَّا تَعْمَلُونَ, and Allah Ta'ala is not ghafil, unaware. Amma is un plus ma. Plus ma. Amma, I'll just write it so that becomes clear. Amma is un plus ma. Then there's a shadda here, and then the noon, and this is an idgham between them, and that's why it is pronounced as amma, and then that's why it is that noon is dropped, and then this why it is as amma, and the amma yatasaalun is also an plus ma. Okay, so And words are all known. So يوم القيامة يردون إلى أشد العذاب وما الله بغافل عما تعملون. تعملون is amal and the present tense is تعملون. عمل يعمل and تعملوا تعملون. Okay. So सब आप करेंगे ये हिस्सा. आप करेंगे अख्तर भाई या और किसको दूं?
जी अस्सलाम वालेकुम।
वालेकुम सलाम व रहमतुल्लाहि व बरकातुहू. हाँ जी.
अऊज़ु बिल्लाहि मिनश शैतानिर रजीम। बिस्मिल्लाहिर रहमानिर रहीम। व यौमल क़ियामति युरद्दून इला अशद्दिल अज़ाब
अशद्दिल अज़ाब
इला अशद्दिल अज़ाब वमल्लाहु बिगाफिलिन अम्मा तामलून। And on the day on the day of the resurrection, they will be sent back ila ashaddil azab, to the most severe punishment. Wamallahu, and Allah is not bighafilin, unaware, amma ta'malun, of what you do.
So we saw the connecting both the parts of the ayah. أَفَتُؤْمِنُونَ بِبَعْضِ الْكِتَابِ وَتَكْفُرُونَ بِبَعْضٍ فَمَا جَزَاءُ مَنْ يَفْعَلُ ذَلِكَ مِنْكُمْ إِلَّا خِزْيٌ فِي الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا وَيَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ يُرَدُّونَ إِلَى أَشَدِّ الْعَذَابِ وَمَا اللَّهُ بِغَافِلٍ عَمَّا تَعْمَلُونَ. So both the dunya and the akhirah, Allah is taking the picture of those both situations and telling us that Allah is not unaware, which means in our lives also we have to see and know that whatever we are doing, Allah Ta'ala is not unaware of whatever things that we are doing. So all ayats of the Quran are signs, and we have to try to get those pearls from those signs. Okay, so and see how we can apply it to our own lives. Such people will have a double punishment. So one of them is disgrace in this world, and the second is a severe punishment in the hereafter. So there's a lesson for us Muslims in this world. For example, we just cannot ignore Fajr Salah because it was called while praying and remaining for Salah. So we have to follow the deen completely. This is just the Salah. Somebody might pray Salah properly, might fast properly, but may not give zakat. So, and others might have money and not go for Hajj. So these are the pillars, but not just the pillars. The daily following is what we will be judged on. And as we say, wherever Allah Ta'ala says, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, and then Allah Ta'ala says, Wa amilus solihat, and they did good works. So good works includes everything, your daily life and how you are living your daily life. So that let's take a hadith. According to the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, as reported by Anas Radiallahu Anhu, there are two acts for which the punishment is given in this world itself. One is transgression, and second is disobeying parents. So these two are such sins that the Prophet said that the punishment of that is given in this world itself, and for others it might be, some of it might come in the hereafter. Right? So we have to avoid these two sins. There are some other sins as well, but this particular hadith just says these two sins. Right? So let me go ahead with the last part. أولئك الذين اشتروا الحياة الدنيا بالآخرة فلا يخفف عنهم العذاب ولا هم ينصرون. Ulaika is demonstrative pronoun. Ulaika, those. Alladhina, those are the ones who. Ishtarau, they bought. So what is the root word of this? Ishtarau. And which form? What is the root words of ishtara and which form? All this should be quick now.
Shin Re Ya.
Sheen, Re, and Ya. Okay, very good. So this Sheen, Ra, and Ya, what is the past tense word that will become in the first form? It will be Shara, right? So the root words are Sheen,
Re Ain.
Sheen, Re, and Ya. No, Ain is not there anywhere, no?
Yeah.
Sheen, Ra, and Ya. This
Yeah.
Ya becomes Alif, so it will be Shara, and the plural of that will be Sharau. So Sharau has been used at other places in the Quran also, but that first form, I just change my pen. So okay. So Shara is the root words Sheen, Ra, and Ya,
Yeah.
and the past tense will be written as Sha, Ra. Okay, and this Shara means to buy. To buy, kharidna, right? And Ishtara goes on the eighth form, Ifta'ala, Ikhtalafa, Ikhtalafa, and it becomes Ishtara, and Ishtara means to sell or to sorry, Ishtara means to buy, and Shara means to sell. Shara, the first form, this one, Shara means to sell, and Ishtara means to buy, and buy would mean to exchange, which means we are giving something and taking something. Of course, at that time, everything was a barter system. We didn't have fake notes that we have today. So everything was exchanged. So if I had something, I would exchange it with something that I want, and that is called as Ishtara, right? And selling is you're selling something off. So these are the two different shades of the same root words. How one word can actually give different meanings. I just wanted to show that, and depending upon the forms. Okay, so this is the ifta'ala, and that's why they have an extra ta here, right?
Ifta'ala yasta'ilu.
Yeah, ikhtalafa, the form that we have studied as ikhtalafa, it is ifta'ala baba ifti'ali. So ishtara. Okay. So ulaika alladhi nashtara means exchanged, bartered. Now that's why now that word bought is there, because now we are buying with money, but that is also kind of a barter. So ulaika alladhi nashtarawul hayata dunya. So they have bought this worldly life bil akhirah, for akhirah, which means they have sacrificed their akhirah. They're not caring about akhirah, and they have just for that little gain in this world, they have bought this world. We have to see whether we are buying world for the akhirah. Allah Ta'ala says, "Wa akhiratu khayrun wa abqa." And akhirah is khair, it is better, and it is abqa, it is everlasting. So are we preparing for the akhirah or preparing for this world? We have to devote enough time for the akhirah so that we are going to earn for the akhirah also. So Allah Ta'ala here is blaming them, and we have to see that that blame doesn't fall on us. So ulaika allazi nashtarawul hayata dunya bil akhirah. They bartered their akhirah for dunya, or they have bought the dunya instead of the akhirah. Then I was saying fala, then not yukhaffafu, lightened. So what are the roots of yukhaffafu?
Fe.
Very good. Okay, and what are the root khaffa? And what are the what is the form of this?
Allama.
Allama. Very good. So allama becomes yu'allimu, but here we have yu'allamu. So now what is this, active voice or passive voice? Passive voice. Very good, right? So now we should be able to identify that also. So once we have the format allama yu'allimu, and now we are seeing a fatha here. Last time we have learned that allama yu'allimu, and the passive form is yu'allamu, right? So that's why the translation done is so will not be lightened, right? So they are not going to lighten themselves because it is not possible. That's why Allah Ta'ala is using the passive word. Just changing the active voice from passive voice changes the meaning of it so much that only once we understand these changes, the flavor of that language will come, and the understanding of those words will come, right? So will not be lightened because first of all, they will not have any capacity to lighten it themselves. And if somebody else has to do it, Allah Ta'ala is making it very clear that it will not be lightened. Khafif nahi kiya jayega, lighten nahi kiya jayega. So fala yukhaffafu anhum, from them, al adab. Adab will not be lightened from them. walahum yunsarun. Right? Yunsarun again goes into the passive voice. Nasara yansuru, yunsaru. We have seen that last time again, right? That the Sod kalima has a fatha here, which makes it passive voice. Okay, same, both are passive. So yunsarun is also passive and yukhaffafun is also passive, because that time we will not have anything that we can do. Today we have a chance to do things. We are active today, so we should act today, right? And then the passive will not be applicable for us, inshallah. So this is the last part of the ayah. So ulaika allazina ishtarawul hayat ad-dunya bil akhirah fala yukhaffafu anhum al-'adhab wa lahum yunsarun. Right? So this is again passive. Last time we have done this in the grammar, that saw the kalima has ain kalima has a fatha, so it is passive voice. Okay. So this is the third part. So who would like to take it? Rashid sahab, aap karenge?
Inshallah.
Okay.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أولئك الذين اشتروا الحياة الدنيا بالآخرة فلا يخفف عنهم العذاب ولا هم ينصرون. أولئك الذين, those are the ones who ishtaru, bought, hayatud dunya, the life of the world, bil akhirah, for the hereafter. Fala yukhaffafu, so it will not be lightened, anhum, for them, al azabu, the punishment, wala hum, and not they, yunsarun, will be helped.
Okay. So as you saw in Ishtaro, it is Baba Ifti'ali, but since there is an al-ladin in front, this Hamza becomes Hamzatul Wasl, or a joining Hamza, and it is not read, right? So that's why we have al-ladinash. This Ishtara, it is not read as al-ladina Ishtaro. If you stop, then you can start this with Ishtaro, right? So if you're reading the full ayat, then ulaika al-ladina, if you stop here, then you can start with Ishtaro. Otherwise, this is Hamzatul Wasl, and it is not pronounced, and you will then directly go to ulaika al-ladinash tarawul hayatud dunya. Okay. Right. So life of this world is temporary and brief. No one has any idea when she will die, and she will on how she will die. We can't enjoy more than one meal at a time and wear one dress at a time and live in one room at a time. Dunya for us is the number of years we stay in it. The rest is irrelevant. Therefore, it is foolishness to ignore Allah's command for the dunya. Right. So this is a lesson that we have to learn, that the akhirah is more important for us. And are we preparing enough for akhirah, or are we selling our akhirah for the brief enjoyment of this world? So do we believe in a part of the book and disbelieve in another part? That when then what should be the recompense of those who do so among you, except disgrace in the worldly life, and day of resurrection they will be sent back to most severe punishment, and Allah is not unaware of what you do. So there's a very powerful message for us here, and we have to see that we also try to follow the book to the dot, right? Those are the ones who have bought the life of this world for the hereafter, so the punishment will not be lightened for them, nor will they be helped. So just keep in mind that Allah Ta'ala is using the passive voices here to indicate that you have no choice or no power in the akhirah. So follow the deen of Allah without leaving any parts. Remember the double punishment for those who follow the deen selectively, extra warning for those who neglect Allah's command, and know that Allah is watching. وَمَاللَّهُ بِغَافِلٍ عَمَّا تَعْمَلُونَ. So what we have to do is we have to make the dua to Allah. Oh Allah, protect us from the practicing the deen only in areas that we are comfortable and leaving other areas. And we should make a plan that I will resist the desires of my nafs by remembering the double punishment mentioned here. So we have to analyze ourselves, that which areas we are weak, which areas we are not following properly, and then try to work on it. And at least if you work on it, Allah will know that we are at least wanting to do it the right way. If we have been doing wrong or not doing something or missing something, we are inshallah following that, right? So let's go to the verbs and nouns. For the nouns, if we begin, we have yom, ayyam, which we have done many times, and then we have shadid. The superlative degree of shadid is ashadda, means most severe. Shadid is severe, this is most severe. So this is not a plural actually, it is the superlative degree. Like we have great, greater, greatest. So here we have severe, severer, and severest. So ashadda is severest. This are the kafara. It goes on bab nasara, kafara yakfuru ukfur, kafir makfur kufr. We have done this many times. Fa'ala is bab fataha, fa'ala yaf'alu if'al, fa'il, maf'ul, and fi'il. Then we have ghafala, again on bab nasara. So ghafala yaghfulu, ughful, ghafil, maghful, and ghaflah, ghaflat. We see na ghaflat again, right? Then we have amila, ya'malu, i'mal, amil, ma'mul, and amal. Then we have nasara, yansuru, unsur, nasir, mansur, nasr. These are all known words, so I'm just going fast. Jaza is jim, za, and ya on the pattern of hada, which we've also done before. So jaza, yajzi. Jim will have a kalkarayer, yaj, yajzi, ijzi, jazin, majziyun, and jazaun. It is recompense. Right? Radda is to send back. Radda, yaruddu, rudda, radda, mardud, and radda. Okay. So, okay. So this is actually yuraddu. Right? So this also is what? Passive voice. Okay. See, the active word is yuraddu, yaruddu. Yaruddu, but here becomes yuraddu. This is again passive voice in the weak form, right? That's why the format is different. So bab will be dhanna yadhunnu, radda yaruddu, and yuraddu is the passive voice of yaruddu. Okay, the active voice is yaruddu and the passive voice is yuraddu. They will be sent back. Bhej diye jayenge. Okay. Okay. Then we have amana, which we've done many times. Amana, yu'minu, amin, mu'min, mu'man, and iman. Then we have ishtara on the bab ikhtalafa, sharaya. And as I said, sharaya means to sell and ishtara means to buy. So ishtara, yashtari, ishtari, mushtarin, mushtariyun, mushtaran, and ishtira'un means the process of buying or exchange or bartering. Khaffa, you have the root word is khafafa, khaffa, but this is khaffafa on the bab allama. So you have yukhaffifu, but the word user was yukhaffafu because it is passive voice. So yukhaffafu is the passive voice. Khaffif, mukhaffifun, mukhaffafun, and takhfifun. Okay, so this is the homework. Anything that you want to ask in the Quran part today? We have another 5 minutes to go before this session ends. Then you'll have to log in again. So any questions on this? Any questions on the Quranic part?
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
When we say that we should not, believe in parts, these are to do with the five pillars of Islam, or all many hadiths and so many things.
So let us analyze it with this ayat itself. Okay. So here Allah Ta'ala had commanded them not to kill each other and not to drive them from their homes. Okay, that was the command. Okay, so similarly, the 5 pillars are not the only commands that we have to follow. Allah Ta'ala has given so many commands. Allah Ta'ala has given us a command of fasting. Allah Ta'ala has given us a command of writing your will before you die. Allah Ta'ala has given us a command of not eating haram. Allah Ta'ala has given a command of not consuming riba. Allah Ta'ala has given us an order of writing your business transactions properly. Allah Ta'ala has given a lot of ahkam on the married life, how marriage is everything. There are so many ahkamat in the Quran. So we cannot say that I will follow one and I'll not follow the other because I am weak in that area or I don't want to follow that. And then people give justifications that about or not using it or not doing certain things. So Allah Ta'ala here is saying that when Allah Ta'ala is saying believe in a part of the book. What is the book? Book is the full law. Okay. So Allah Ta'ala wants us to follow the book to the dot. It is not just the 5 pillars. 5 pillars is the base. Right? But you have to have a building created. No, you're not just going to make pillars and then say, hey, this is my building. No. Pillars means the support of the building. So the building will have walls, will have doors, will have windows, will have electricity connections, whatever. So when we see a building, we see it completely. We don't see just the pillars. The pillars is the strength of that building. Okay. So it is not that just the 5 pillars have to be followed to the dot. No, it is that the whole book has to be followed to the dot, and we all are weak in this, and we have to see our own weak areas and try to see that we implement that properly. Right. So this is not possible without learning the deen. We have to try and learn the deen. We have to try and learn what are we expected to do. So just the 5 pillars is also in the 5 pillars itself. Is our salah properly? Are we doing it properly? Are we doing it in time? There are so many things in that also, right? So one is a pillar, to do that pillar itself properly, right? But that pillar would not include eating the haram. But Allah Ta'ala has made it very clear that you have to avoid the riba. Are we taking enough efforts to see that we avoid riba? Allah Ta'ala is going to see our actions and our thought process. Okay, so if we have consumed it before, and now we realize, and in fact the ayat in the Quran says that people who have consumed it before, Allah Ta'ala is forgiving them that. But now on, you just see to it that you don't take. So once we know that something is wrong, then we keep following it, or trying to justify that following that what I'm trying to do is right. That is not that is not expected, or that shouldn't be done. So we should first try and learn what is right, what is wrong, and then try to implement it in our lives, and know and ask for forgiveness to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala all the time, that we are not perfect, but we want to become perfect. But at least that intention to wanting to become perfect should be there. We may never be perfect, and without the mercy of Allah, we may never enter Jannah. So, but at least Allah Ta'ala is going to see our efforts. At a lot of places, Allah Ta'ala sees that for you is what you strived for. Allah Ta'ala doesn't say that whether you reach the goal or no. Okay, so if you are not going to strive for it itself, then it shows the attitude that you don't want to do it, and that's why we are not striving for it. So if we are striving for it, even if we don't reach it, or if you're not able to do it completely, Allah Ta'ala inshallah will reward us for the same. Right? I hope I answered.
Inshallah. Jazakallah.
Right. Any other questions, comments? We have another couple of minutes to go.
Is riba and interest is same or just?
Yeah, riba and interest is same. Riba usually interest, but there are a lot of forms of interest which we may not even be able to know. Right? Like there cannot be 2 transactions in one transaction. This is something which is now very commonly done by a lot of people. You cannot sell what you don't possess. So in the building line, there are people who would just not even buy something and just talk, and then they would sell it to some third person. So for that, we have to actually go to the book of business transactions, learn how the transactions are, what transactions were prohibited, and only then we will know exactly what it is. Because the people in general will not know how the Sharia wants business to be done. If we follow the people of the world, we'll always go wrong somewhere. It is our own duty to find out what is right, what is wrong in our daily dealings also, right? So that would require efforts from our side, and if we are taking the efforts, inshallah Allah will reward us for the same. So every business or everything or anything that anybody is doing would have some things which are haram, and people have accepted it. Only because people have accepted it doesn't mean that we also accept it. We have to try and see if that is fitting our thing, or if that is right or no according to the Sharia principles. We can consult scholars for the same and try to find out our own maslas, but it is required that we try to take efforts for that. Right, so we have just less than a minute, so I think we'll stop here and we'll join back again, inshallah.
Okay.